I entirely beg you, people and government of the DPR Korea, I have made the worst mistake of my life.
Otto Warmbier, a 22-year-old American college student, was returning from North Korea after celebrating holidays and the New Year with his friends. Suddenly, at the airport, some North Korean guards grabbed him. Otto thought he hadn't done anything wrong, yet he was being arrested. He figured it must be some misunderstanding, but his shock deepened when his friend's flight took off without him. After that, the North Korean police took Otto to court, where he was sentenced to 15 years of horrific imprisonment, and then, in the dark cell of the prison, the inhuman torture began. But why? What had he done in North Korea to deserve such a terrifying punishment, and what ultimately happened to him? Hearing this entire story will leave you stunned at how cruel a country's laws can be. This incident started with a small article in a newspaper where a Chinese travel agency called Young Pioneer was offering trips to North Korea for just $2,000. That's where Otto Warmbier, a resident of Ohio, USA, spotted the article. Otto was a brilliant student studying at the University of Virginia. In 2013, he had graduated from Wyoming High School with the second highest score. Besides that, he was an expert swimmer and footballer, and he had quite a reputation in college. But during his final semester at the University of Virginia, Otto had plans to go to Hong Kong in 2016 for academic reasons. Amid the pressure of exams, job preparations, and all the stress, he thought he'd celebrate the new year in a different way this time. Seeing the North Korea tour article in the newspaper excited Otto immensely because, since childhood, he had been very curious about North Korea and the lifestyle of its people. So upon reading that article, Otto decided he would celebrate the 2016 New Year in North Korea. He immediately contacted the travel agency and booked his ticket. But Otto never imagined that this new year would be the last one of his life. On December 29, 2015, Otto departed from Pyongyang Airport in China with his travel group. In this group, besides Otto, there were 10 other Americans. There were also some tourists from England and Australia. After about a 2-hour journey, the flight landed at Pyongyang Airport, the capital of North Korea. After that, everyone stayed at the famous Yanggakdo International Hotel there. Remember the name of this hotel. It's key because that's where the whole incident was about to unfold. On the very first day of arriving in North Korea, the tour guides there showed them around the nearby tourist spots. Then, on December 31st, 2015, for New Year's celebrations, everyone gathered at Kim Il-sung Square in Pyongyang. Besides foreign tourists, thousands of North Koreans had also come to celebrate the new year. The celebration went on all night at Kim Il-sung Square. After the celebration ended, Otto returned to the hotel with all his group members. Upon reaching the hotel, some went to the bar for drinks and partying, while others went to their rooms to rest. On January 2, 2016, after the 5-day North Korea tour ended, everyone was waiting at Pyongyang Airport for their flight. But just before boarding the flight, suddenly 2 local policemen came and grabbed Otto. When asked why he was being arrested, the policeman gave no answer. Everyone thought maybe Otto was being harassed because he was American. After all, who doesn't know the state of international relations between North Korea and America? Seeing Otto being arrested, his roommate Danny Grattan joked, "Well, buddy, this might be our last meeting. I might never see you again." Hearing this, Otto laughed. Danny smiled and boarded the flight. Danny thought the guards would release Otto before the flight took off. But who knew that Danny's joke would turn into a horrific reality? Suddenly, a security guard from the airport came onto the plane and announced that Otto had fallen very ill and wouldn't be coming. This was natural to be shocking, because the boy who had just said goodbye to everyone laughing and smiling, looking completely healthy and normal, how could he suddenly fall sick? Deep down, everyone sensed that Otto must have fallen victim to some big conspiracy. In just a few minutes, the plane took off from Pyongyang Airport, leaving Otto behind. A few days after this incident, North Korea's Central News Agency issued a statement that Otto had been arrested on charges of hostile acts against the country. But what crime had he actually committed there? The North Korean government flatly refused to reveal that. For about 2 months after that, neither did the North Korean government provide any updates on Otto, nor was the American government able to gather any information about him through its sources. But on March 18, 2016, North Korea's news agency released a video showing a person removing a poster from a wall. However, the video quality was so poor that it was hard to clearly identify who the person was. Still, North Korea claimed that the person was Otto Warmbier, who had removed a poster from the hotel at 1:57 a.m. on January 1st, and on the basis of this crime, Otto was brought to court. There, he was sentenced to 15 years of horrific imprisonment. Imagine, in our country, even heinous crimes like murder get 14 years of life imprisonment, but in North Korea, Otto was given 15 years in jail just for removing a minor poster. When North Korea's news agency made this video public, the whole world was stunned that a country's justice system could be so ruthless and harsh. After this incident, no news about Otto came out. What was the jail like? What was happening to him? Nothing was known, but suddenly, 15 months later, the North Korean government decided to release Otto and informed America about it. It was like rain falling without a single cloud, because the very court that had sentenced Otto to 15 years, that same country decided to release him suddenly, before even 15 months were up. Anyway, this made Otto's parents extremely happy that their son was finally returning home after all the storms. June 13, 2017, was the day when Otto was finally sent back to America from North Korea. After a full 15 months, Otto stepped on his country's soil again. But unfortunately, he was no longer the same Otto. Now he was extremely ill and broken. His condition had deteriorated so much that he had even lost the ability to walk. 2 people were supporting him as he got off the plane. Seeing this heartbreaking sight, his father rushed over, hugged him, and asked how his body had come to this state. But surprisingly, in response, Otto said nothing. He could see everything with his eyes. He was even breathing. But beyond that, he wasn't reacting in any way. In other words, what had really happened to him in North Korea's prison? Otto no longer had the ability to tell. Seeing this, his parents were devastated, feeling that due to long imprisonment, Otto was broken both physically and mentally. Seeing his condition, his parents immediately admitted him to the hospital, but they never imagined that such a painful truth awaited them there. When doctors examined Otto in the hospital, they discovered he had been in a coma for a long time, and there was no chance of recovery because his brain had completely stopped functioning. In simple words, he was brain dead. Hearing this heartbreaking news from the doctors, what Otto's father must have felt at that moment is impossible to express in words. And exactly 6 days after this incident, on June 19, 2017, at 2:20 p.m., Otto passed away in a coma. But Otto's unnatural death didn't sit well with the American government because a 22 to 23-year-old young man going into a coma just from being imprisoned seemed unbelievable. When questioned about this by the North Korean government, they replied that while in jail, Otto had been given just a sleeping pill, which caused his condition to worsen. But the American government knew this was a lie, because 2 shocking facts emerged from Otto's medical examination. When a CT scan of his head was done, it was found that his brain had completely changed compared to a normal brain. The structure of his teeth had also deteriorated. This pointed to only one conclusion. Otto had been subjected to large-scale torture in North Korea, but the surprising thing was that there were no marks of injury or wounds anywhere on his body, nothing to directly accuse North Korea. Because of this, even today, America hasn't uncovered the truth behind Otto's unnatural death, and his passing remains a mystery to the whole world. A conspiracy where Otto was deliberately trapped with a cold mind. There are some suspicious points related to this case too. The first doubt arose right when Otto was arrested at the airport. When asked about his crime, the policeman gave no answer. It seemed like they had orders from above to arrest Otto, so they were doing it. Besides, they didn't even know anything. Then, a few days later, when the North Korean government told America that Otto had been caught for hostile activities against the country, they still didn't specify what the actual crime was. If Otto had really committed a crime and was arrested on that basis, what was the harm in revealing that crime? When 2 months later, North Korea's news agency released that video, the first thing was that its quality was so poor, it was hard to clearly identify who was in it. But the North Korean government claimed it was Otto Warmbier, who had removed the poster from the hotel at 1:57 a.m. on New Year's night. But when Otto's friends were interviewed after returning from North Korea, they said that on New Year's night, they were partying until 3 a.m., and Otto was with them the whole time. This made it clear that Otto couldn't have removed the poster at 1:57 a.m. because he was at the party. Now, even if we assume his friends were lying to save him, one thing is worth thinking about: the CCTV footage on the basis of which the North Korean government arrested Otto. That footage must have been with them from the beginning. So why did it take the North Korean government a full 2 months to publish the video, to the point that initially the North Korean government didn't even want to reveal what crime Otto had committed? I think at that time they didn't have any solid evidence against Otto, so to frame him, they prepared fake CCTV footage over those 2 months to prove him guilty in front of the whole world. North Korea also claims that Otto went into a coma and ended up like this just because of one sleeping pill. But I doubt this too, because there are many torture methods in the world where prisoners are subjected to inhuman torment without leaving any marks of injury on their bodies. Otherwise, how is it possible that just one sleeping pill could completely change his brain and even deteriorate the structure of his teeth? Anyway, these are all my own assumptions. In reality, what happened to him, only Otto knew, and now he's no longer in this world. So, what do you think about this? Write it in the comments and let me know. See you in the next video. Until then, take care. Subscribe USA A2 Memories for more videos.